Hello everyone, and welcome back to third episode of Random Encounter. And it is episode 3 for everyone, because after the dithering and confusion of last time where I was going, what's going on here and which episode is which, I decided I'm just going to put YouTube episodes to match the podcast ones, so they'll be an hour long. It just makes more sense, and it means we can keep track of it. That said, we are still recording these back to back effectively, so we'll be recording 2 episodes now. It's the easiest way for us to do it, and then we'll move on bit by bit by bit. But you guys will just see them in hour-long episodes, nice and simple for you lot. Speaking of changing our minds and doing things in different ways and all the rest of it. We're having fun with technology. I have been having fun with technology this week, and these guys are just being introduced to the fact that because we are on Foundry, and because we use Foundry VTT, and there are mods aplenty for this, and I use the Pathfinder 2 mod for the UI to give it a little bit more of an RPG feel, and it's supposed to sort of tie it all in. But they've changed it. They've changed a lot of it, and they've done a whole lot of weird stuff to it, including moving boxes and changing boxes and making them see through and everything else. This has been a kind of a bit of a sudden experience for certainly for me to get it all working and get it to work for these guys so that it's up and running. So if we start in this lesson going, where's this gone? That's why. It's because the UI has been changed. Speaking of things changing and rapidly moving around and everything else, how is all of my players doing? Have you been doing anything interesting over the last sort of, as I say, 2 weeks? Life has changed for many of us, I am sure. I've completely stopped working. Not because of this, not in some brave new world of trying to become a professional GM, but simply because I was moving between jobs and got told by my first job that I didn't need to come in anymore. Fine, sure, yeah. Whatever. Got 2 weeks off. In fact, a bit longer than that. So let's go around just to sort of catch up with everybody. Let's go with Mosran. JJ, my old friend, how are you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. Things are mostly the same still. Still in the same place. Still going on with streaming. Changed over from my usual sci-fi stuff more across to Satisfactory at the moment. And a couple of more, an indie game, I think. Yeah. 2 indie games, technically. But yeah, other than that, still much the same.
Fair enough. Okay, so that is JJ. Let's go over to Lily. Anya, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Like, work's busy as always. I say I've got some holiday next week. I'm going to be probably playing a lot of computer games, but yeah, being fairly quiet actually.
I mean, holiday's one of those things that you seem to very rarely get, so I'm quite impressed that you've managed to grab hold of
something. I've got like a workplace do actually on Friday, so we're going to a nice curry house. So and going back roughly to lockdown stuff, like I've been working at this new place for quite a few months now. Haven't seen anybody in person, so this is actually the first time I'm going to actually see like actual human beings in a workplace environment, sort of. It's like, how do I be like professional? Or like, am I just going to be my silly old self and then just make an absolute fool of myself? Apart from that, it's going well.
Fair enough.
Human beings are overrated.
They are, definitely. So I wasn't going to bring this up straight. In this one we'll do more about this in the start of the next one. But 2021 has been it's been and gone, hasn't it? It's been one of those. Everything's sort of disappeared in terms of time. Can't believe it is, and only in the veil ever so slightly here, because of course most people that watch this won't watch this in October, because I won't be putting it on the internet in October. It'll be after that, once I've done a bit of editing, but we are in October already, and that just seems.
Is it my internet?
You've interestingly, Anya has now frozen in time. I think you're moving again. There you are. There you are. You're back. Okay, but yeah. So yeah, we're in October already, which just is crazy. for this year. So Phalen, Dave, how are you doing?
Life continues much the same. Work is work.
Yeah,
Family care is family care.
yeah.
Playing silly role-playing games is playing silly role-playing games, of which I have a reasonable amount at the moment. I'm getting close to actually venturing out and possibly playing some Warhammer with people,
Ooh.
which is
Oh my
a
word!
scary
Side.
concept.
Oh,
See, people.
But that's a long story. That's a longer story for another time.
People in person over a table. I'm not sure about this one.
Mm.
I know, but
Oh dear. And
you know, I have painted all the plastic little sci-fi skeletons, so I'm damn well going to use them.
that's fair enough. Fair enough. I know you like having a lot of miniatures for your RPG, so I wasn't sure if you were delving into some weird sort of sci-fi horror game, but
Well, they'll do for that as well.
that's fair.
I am looking forward to getting back to in-person gaming, so I can use quite a lot of the scenery and miniatures that I have been grabby hands little goblining over the past 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I must say this lockdown has meant that Kickstarter has seen quite a lot of my money.
Hmm.
And next year I'm probably going to get close to about 1,000 different miniatures. And
Ooh.
I'm just like,
nice.
I've got to paint and build those at some point.
Oh, you went even
And a lot.
you went so far as to even going for ones that weren't pre-molded,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these are like dragons that I've got to build myself
Oh,
and
God.
all sorts. So like I'm definitely more of a painter than a wargamer at this point.
I
But
am currently waiting to see what happens with the one Kickstarter that I'm kind of holding. Not holding back on. I'm holding my breath for when it will come out, but because they've never really given us a release date. But I do have an almost complete full in pledge for the Darkest Dungeon board game.
I've got that too. Yeah.
And they're not really letting us know when it's coming, are they? They're being very quiet about it. But
Yeah, like I think originally it said November, but they've definitely had delays with that. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping next year.
Yeah, just a bit. And I'm going to swing this open to one last person. Neffy, Becky, how have you been? How's things been in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, life's life. As Matt knows, obviously been LARPing, where we were with actual people.
Yeah.
I know.
A story comes with that, doesn't it? Because of what happened the very day after we all got back with a friend of ours who so just for everybody's awareness on this one and fun, that you can't ever trust everything that you do with COVID, because this unfortunately did bite us a little bit. There was a requirement to have your COVID passport. There was a requirement to do an LFT test before, and everybody did, and everybody was negative, and everybody handed in their text messages and everything else. The day after we all got back, most people were sensible enough to also do another LFT test, and one of the group turned round to everybody and
Tested
went,
positive.
"I've just tested positive."
Oh no.
Did the whole getting the one ordered through the post. Everybody else goes into overdrive, making sure we're taking LFTs pretty much every other day, just to make sure that nothing's wrong. They do the through the post one, get the results back. Yeah, this is positive. That you've got a positive COVID. They are only just recovering. I have been sort of just checking up on them, and yeah, I if you are watching, I don't know why you would be, but if you are watching, I hope I hope they're well and hope they're doing okay. But yeah, thankfully, I did go into overdrive with LFT tests. I have been doing one nearly every other day, and I haven't got anything. So
Yeah.
thankfully, not
It was
too
a
bad.
really good event. It was just really stressful a couple of days afterwards, where everyone was like, "Oh my god!"
And
Panic stations.
What's even worse about this is it's not like this person made a mistake the first time. we're pretty certain they were 100% clear when they did their first LFT to get to the event. They're also double vaccinated. So it's like, everything here should say that this really shouldn't have happened. But unfortunately, we are learning more and more
They
about all
picked it
this
up
stuff.
from someone in passing, didn't they? Essentially,
I believe they think their next door neighbour had it. So
it is what it is. But
simple,
obviously, everyone be careful.
Yeah, simple thing.
Oh, yeah.
Keep wearing your masks, no matter what anybody says. If you're going into a large place, wear your mask. Make sure you're LFTing before any events that you're doing, and make sure you do some tests afterwards, just to be 100% certain that you are safe.
And you know what? Do them when you're at the event. Like I was doing them daily that weekend.
Well,
And I did it when I did the LARP event early in the year as well. I was taking them every day, so I wasn't going to leave the hotel if anything came up.
Yeah. Just a case of being sensible and safe with it. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing about this year is it's all been learning to live with stuff, but not in the way that our government want us to.
I was going to say, I'm about to throw something at you.
Yeah,
It'll take a while to get to you. But...
we are learning to change our lives completely in order to live with it.
There we go.
That's what the whole thing is, and that is most definitely the safest approach. Although speaking of safe approaches, that was a lovely little chance for me to segue into this. We are in a situation where, unfortunately, things are not safe for your lovely druid friend Phalen.
No.
As Mosran looks through a gap in the wall and sees a rather large shape start to move towards the druid, who is currently looking at what appears to be a slab of rotting maggot flesh.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, shall we kick this off then with a simple request for everybody to roll your initiative. As it happens, the combat tracker is already set up. You are already added to it, and you can all roll for it.
Yeah, we can actually do physical rolls.
And let's get a bit of music going as well.
I cannot do initiative, as it turns out.
Can you not?
Oh wait, I was going to use a thing on that. Well, I forgot that I was supposed to press the button of Foundry and manually rolled it and rolled a 3. So if you want me to keep that is what I rolled, or if you want me to push the button.
No, go for the button on the tracker. It's far better. It's far better. So yeah, I will quite happily now say that we've got our encounter up on here, and at the moment most of you can't see the creature itself. I'm kind of waiting to see what the reaction of a couple of my players are. So let's begin this encounter, and what I'll do is I'll reveal where the creature is, because Neffy, because of your quick perception and your quick ability, and because of the fact that in Pathfinder 2nd edition there is no such thing as a surprise round, that they don't exist. The only thing that effectively matters is if my creature had beat all of you on initiative, it would get to act before any of you had seen it, because functionally that's the idea of the way that it works. My creature rolled stealth, you guys rolled perception for the most part, some of you probably rolled stealth as well, so it is you use your initiative to work out whether or not you see somebody before they get to act, but most of you have managed to go faster than this thing. So there's the creature, and I'm wondering, Neffy's not showing any sort of knowledge of this. Mosran, you got any ideas based on that token what this might be?
Problematic. Other than that, don't know.
You're not sure. Okay, that's interesting.
It looks like some weird toad thing.
It does look like some weird toad thing. Not in the early stuff, but you have faced these in the other game that we play.
Oh, rats. Yes. No.
Oh,
that's a problem. That's a problem.
Oh no.
That is definitely identified as a problem.
That's definitely identified as a problem, apparently. Either case,
everybody stay back.
Neffy,
It's on the mental track.
As this thing starts moving through the water, you do manage to spot it before it gets to Phalen. Or more accurately, as it gets next to Phalen, you can see it, and you get to act first.
It's an action to identify, isn't it?
It is, yes. It would be an action to use the recall knowledge for the creature. You are more than welcome to do that, though, if you wish.
I would, only I'm not likely to be able to identify it
Well,
looking at my scores there. So
do you-
I'm gonna just go with I'm gonna shoot it.
You're going to shoot it. That's fair. That's fair. Because of the fact that did you use stealth for your initiative, or are you using something else? Did you use perception? Let's have a look. Now you use perception.
I think I just put it on perception.
You
Yeah.
did. So you're not going to get your sneak attack bonus here. It's not going to be flat-footed to you either. But you absolutely can.
Because it's not had a go yet. Is that right, or is
No,
it only if it?
That's not in this edition of the game. Flat-footed now is you don't get flat-footed automatically. There have to be conditions for it to happen. As a rogue, if you'd use stealth for your initiative and you'd beaten it in initiative order, you do get to have flat-footed for that first attack. But
still getting used to it.
yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So just for future reference, you are technically better if you are stealthing in a fight.
Okay, I rolled a 20.
A 20 against this creature will hit. You can roll your damage.
That's a 5 on damage.
5 damage. It does seem to take that hits in quite hard into it. So for your first action, you fire off your crossbow. What do you want to do for your second action?
Reload.
I mean, that seems reasonable.
And then shoot it again.
Okay, so second one is an attack penalty. I believe -5 for the crossbow, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, I've got it written out here. So I'm only adding +1 this time.
Yep.
So 16.
That one will skit off into the water. It will miss it with that 16. But you got in a
Guys, roll higher
hit.
than 16.
You got a decent hit in anyway, and it now moves on to Anka's turn. Mosrin, you will be up next, but it is Anka's turn.
So I don't really know what's going on. All I've heard is that there's something kind of in the water.
Yes.
And a sword and board's probably not amazing for water. Is there obviously the goblin-y things that we were fighting before had obviously darts and things.
They did,
Are there any of those kind of lying about that I could try and pick up?
There's one of the bodies is right next to you, so you can certainly do an interact action to pick up a dart, but unfortunately I would say it would be quite difficult to pick up multiple.
Okay, I'll pick up a dart.
Okay, so that's one action to do that.
I will then run outside to see what's going on.
Yep.
So it's 25, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Just
Collides with
walls,
this one more.
so you might have to move in parts, in bits.
5, 10. Diagonals are 5, right?
Diagonals are 5 for the first one and 10 for a second
15,
one. So
20, 25.
Yep.
And then can see.
Yep. Now
in front of me.
It is going to get some cover because, as you said, there's people in front of you, so it will gain a bonus to its armor class. But you are more than welcome to try and throw that dart.
I will try and throw a dart. I have no idea what I need in terms of bonuses for it.
So you're going to be throwing with your dex, which is not great. You've not got a good dex bonus. So I would imagine. And this is where it gets a little bit fun. You are, at the very least, going to be trained in it, so you're going to have a +3. +3. I'm just wondering if you might be slightly. No, it'll be just the +3. Yes, just the +3.
Okay. 13.
That dart goes nowhere near. It just you try really hard. You're thinking about trying to get it on the right target, but it's absolutely nowhere near, I'm afraid.
I tried.
You did try. Mosrin, it is now your turn.
Because I'm up on the rickety bits right now, aren't I? Having snuggled forward.
You are, but I will say that getting out of that probably is a free action, just letting yourself drop. So I won't penalise you for that little bit of role playing that you did earlier. You did in the other game, or in the other session. That was more entertainment value than anything else.
That's fair enough then. So let's see. 5, 10, 20, 25. Okay, let's run that. That's
Yep.
25 to there. That's one move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only going to be useful if I'm actually up and close with it. So 15, 25, 30, 25.
Yep.
Is that legit 25?
That is a legit 25. You'll have to probably manually move yourself because it won't like going through the walls, but you will definitely be able to do that. Sort of squeezing past Anchor isn't going to be difficult. Oleron's going to be dead easy to get past, so you can absolutely get yourself to there. At which point you come across, at the moment it's more in the water. It's kind of a little bit, it's not gaining cover from it, but it is under the water as you run past Phalen, who doesn't seem to have noticed it's there.
And I'll effectively, as I do run past, I'll just basically lean in with the halberd first and go for the halberd strike.
Yep.
Go for a stab, which is a 7 plus 9 for 16.
That is a miss. As we've established, 16 is not enough.
Negative.
And that
Two,
is
3.
that is your action. At which point this creature then acts. Phalen, you will be after this, on the assumption that you are still standing. So.
Oh no! Oh no!
So it rears out of the water, and this creature is very peculiar looking. It looks like an overgrown toad. It's of a medium size, so we're not talking tiny toad, we're not talking small, sort of like a goblin, we're talking medium-sized toad. This is quite a large, quite a large toad. And what is really striking about it is, well, actually, there's quite a number of things that are striking about it. Firstly, its body seems to be covered in pustules of really weird goo, all over its back, over its body, which you're not entirely sure what that does, but it does seem to be sort of roiling and moving within the skin, so that doesn't seem good.
Horrible.
In addition to that, its entire tummy area seems to be also slimy in some way, and if that wasn't bad enough, it has 2 huge fangs that drop from its jaw. In fact, here you go. Let's just have you have a look at. There you go.
So it's kind of like a half toad, half walrus.
You could go that way, but yeah, there's
a good description.
Behold the toadrus.
This rather unpleasant looking creature, and you've all got a picture of it now on your screens.
You know what? I really like its eyebrows.
They are dramatic, aren't they?
That's fair.
That's
fair. So the first thing it's going to do is it's actually going to one of those pustules on its back explodes, and it almost flings its body forwards, and it's going to try and hit Neffy with this.
God damn it!
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. So it's going to make a attack roll against you with that. Yeah, that's going to hit with a 26. Thankfully, it can't actually do any.
My AC is a 16.
I mean, that would be a crit, but thankfully it can't crit with this because there's no damage component to it. So don't worry too much about that. However, you are hit with entangling slime. You are covered head to toe in this stuff. It reduces your speed by 5 foot for an hour. It also makes you clumsy for an hour.
There's a lake there. You can just have a bath. It's fine.
It also makes you clumsy 1, so that's something that I will very quickly just mark onto your character. You are now clumsy. So there's a clumsy marker on you, I'm afraid. And on top of that, it takes 3 full actions to remove the slime. So you are kind of a little bit stuck on this one now. It will then turn round to its original target, which was Phalen, and it will try and hit you with its tusks. Thankfully, the other thing is an attack, so it does impact what the bonus is to roll on this. But I think a 24 will probably hit you, Phalen.
24 will indeed hit me, but it will not hit me by 10.
That's good. Well, at least it's not a crit. At least it's not a crit, which is probably a good thing because this thing hits quite hard. And you're going to take 10 points of damage.
Ooh.
Okay. That's
Have
a
fun,
bit
Phalen.
harsh.
It's then seeing that there's quite so many people around it. It's going to back off. It's actually going to try and move away. And this is where we potentially see if what sort of mechanics this group has. So it moves away.
You stab it, Moz.
I do indeed.
You do
Verily.
indeed. Yes,
In
I
the
believe.
face.
I believe you.
Oh, yes.
I believe being a fighter, you have a reaction for this.
You stab him.
I was just going to double check myself. I do indeed have an attack of opportunities. I'm going to stab it right in the butt with halberd. That's a 12 plus 9, so that's a 21.
21 is absolutely a hit. You have definitely hit this creature. Roll your damage, please.
Damage. What's the damage dice on a halberd? Is something. Dice, numbers, actions. Just tells you what damage is. Okay. Equipment list. That'll tell me. No, it won't.
No, so go to your actions.
Yeah.
And where it says damage on the halberd, just hover your mouse over the top of it, and it'll let you know there. At least it should do. It says.
It does if you're popped in.
D10.
It doesn't if
It
you're
does if you're
popped
popped
out.
in. Okay. Let's pop
It's
back in.
1d10 piercing.
1d10 plus 4. Perfect.
I mean, that's a considerable amount.
It is. I'll take a 5 and 4 for 9.
9 points damage is pretty substantial. It does seem to have taken a wedge out of this thing as it moves away, but it is definitely still swimming and still quite happy. So, Phalen, it is now your go. That was its 3 actions.
So, let's start with the reaction you were all waiting for. Bilford H. Boggy, that's a big bugger.
I like.
Right. So, Phalen's going to throw the horns and hit it with an electric arc.
I love how you throw the horns.
Well, you
Oh,
need
I
to
love
throw the
it.
horns for an electric arc. It's
Yeah.
important.
Because it's between those 2 prongs is where it's going.
Yeah.
It doesn't work otherwise.
So can Codrus make a basic reflex save DC 17?
A
please?
basic reflex save at DC 17. Yes, I can certainly attempt to make one of those. I will, however, fail, but not critically fail.
Okay. It can have 6 whole points of electric damage.
I mean, it doesn't particularly like that, so it's a reasonable way of going.
Right. So I need to put my damage on the right person. Never mind.
Yes, Oloran should not have that much damage.
Say, like, what happened to your poor badger? Did it jump in front of the tusk? It went stuck on the tusks.
Right. And then for my third action, I'm going to take a little step over here.
Out of the way.
So out of the way. So we have the rather excellent ablative orc.
Yeah, no, that seems fair enough. So round to the top of turn 2, it is Neffy's turn. Neffy,
I said excellent ablative orc.
Yeah, you are clumsy. That is going to make things like your
Yeah.
ranged attack rolls a little bit harder. stealth acrobatics.
Seem to remember it was me who got hit first the last time that I fought one of these things,
Oh,
isn't it?
well, I mean, you've got no idea what one of these things is, so you should never know for sure. But yes, I believe in the other game that is exactly
I remember
what
my plan last time was just to stay really still and deal with it after the fight.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have to get up close and personal to do that. So I reload.
Yep.
I try and shoot the bugger.
Okay. You can absolutely try and make that roll.
So what does clumsy do?
So clumsy is quite a wide-ranging condition. Quite a lot of these are. It always has a value with it. In this case, it's 1. And anybody that's got this has a status penalty equal to that value to pretty much anything that Dex does. So armor class, reflex save throws, ranged attack rolls, skill checks, which are acrobatics, stealth, thievery. But basically anything that uses your Dex is impacted by clumsy.
Neffy is not much of a rogue.
Not really a Dex-based character. No, not at all.
No, not even the slightest. Everything's about strength for me with my -1 or whatever it is. I don't know. No, it's not quite as bad as that. Okay, so I normally add 6.
Yep.
Are you gonna? Shall I give you the total and then you adjust?
No. You include the adjustment if you wouldn't mind. So the you take into account the condition if you would. So the extra -1.
So I'm adding 6 and then minusing 1.
Correct,
So I'm adding 5.
You're adding 5.
18
is
what I
a
rolled.
hit. Is a hit.
Okay.
Ooh.
So roll your damage. You're quite good with that little hand crossbow that you've got, or
4.
4
I got a
points of
4.
damage. I mean, you almost always hit, but you're not always doing a lot of damage, are you? Really, there, Neffy. So you've reloaded.
Shut up, you.
Harsh.
Just being so mean. He's just really like. What have I done?
I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand. I've just been my honor has just been besmirched. Right. Anyway,
we're all staying quiet because we don't want to get caught up.
And then I will then reload again, so I'm ready for the next round
Okie
if it
dokie.
gets to another round.
Yeah, that's fair. Amka, it is your turn.
Yes. So after seeing probably a little bit of a bloody Phalen, I start running in the direction of the toad while chanting some words. My hand starts to glow,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of run past Phalen. So I guess my first action is kind of
Yeah,
moving.
to move around the corner. I will. Yeah, you move yourself up to there. Yeah.
But kind of while I'm running past, my hand is glowing, and I kind of like smash Phalen in the chest. With
Healing slap.
And take the rest of his hit points away.
like nicely in the wound,
Yeah.
and like rip your heart out. No, I heal you for 6 hit points.
Okay.
As I lay on hands.
Yep, that's fair. So a move action, then you've cast your focus spell to lay on hands.
And you get a +2 status bonus to AC for 1 round.
That's pretty good.
I'm assuming this is deep-ish water.
So it's about 4 foot deep. So the creature is still visible. You can still see it. It's probably slightly below the surface, but enough of it that you could get to it and hit it. But you've got to remember that it's then going to be getting up to your chest, which does make it difficult terrain. So it would slow you down in the process as well. You would move half speed.
Okay. Well, not to be outdone by the massive orc next to me. I will continue to pursue the toad-like thing. I can't even raise my shield, so actually I'm going to drop my shield and put both hands on my sword and start charging towards it.
Yep, that's fair enough.
I can't make a swing, and I don't know how fast I can get. So is that,
probably that'll be 5. You find that's 5 foot to there, but that's now going to be 15 foot to there, and it would cost you another 10 to make another step
Okay, so I can reach there. I just can't make a
You
swing.
can't because you wouldn't have any actions
Yeah.
spare anyway. Mosrin, it is now your turn.
Question.
You've seen Anka wade out into the water after the shadow that's now in there.
I'm just going to double check my feet. Skill feats, underwater marauder. Coming from the sailor background, you've learned to fight underwater. You're not flat-footed whilst in water, and you don't take usual penalties for using bludgeoning or slashing melee weapons in water. I presume we're not deep enough for that to start to come into play.
I would not classify this water as deep enough. You're going to be able to do full overhead swings and all the rest of it. So I'm not going to classify it as that. But certainly you are still slowed down by the depth of the water. So
Cool, and it's effectively double to get anywhere, isn't it?
yeah. So that would take you 2 actions realistically to sort of be there.
Yep, that's cool. I'll take that.
Yep.
Take 2 to get up to there. Charge forward with Mosran, who on the way past will again take that very careful overhead swing to bring it over Anka's head and then sharply down with the halberd, deliberately timing it so that it's a chop and swing forward.
Fair enough. Make that attack.
I'm
Go
assuming
for
you
maximum
can't get.
intimidation.
I'm assuming you can't get 1 step to the right, can you, Mosman?
Sadly, that would be 30 feet to go 1 step to the right.
Yeah, can't quite get that flank.
So 60.
Can't quite.
Sad time.
Otherwise, I would have.
That said, it is also in the water, and I would suggest it might also be flat-footed due to that. So
Okay, so here we're going for the strike. 17 plus 9 for a 28.
that will be a critical hit, even with or without the flat-footed. That is a big old hefty swing that you come down with. So roll your damage and double it, please. So what will it be? 1d10 plus 4 doubled.
1d10 plus 4, then double.
Yep. You double
so
everything
3 plus
in
4
this.
makes 7 to 14.
14 points of damage. Would you be so kind as to describe how this creature is ended quite so quickly?
In that case, then, is literally as he's charging through, obviously forewarned by the sudden raging and splashing of water, Anka takes out that half ducking action, which just leaves an exploitative gap for Mosran to bring in the halberd, and just as he's just running past, just end it with a full swing and half kneel into the edge of the bank there, not looking back because you don't look backwards at explosions or apparently exploding gribblies.
This
Blocks don't
creature
look at explosions.
drops into the water, sort of floats away. This is probably the first time I've done any considerable damage to you guys so far with the 2 fights that we've had. But Phalen is looking a little bit beaten up, a little bit worse for wear for the one hit, and Neffy is covered from head to toe in this horrible, sticky, almost hardened fluid that seems to be causing her all manner of problems in moving and just generally
Functioning
shifting around. Yeah.
Phalan's going to sidle over to Neffy and start to use prestidigitation to clean her up.
Ooh.
Glad you clarified what this was.
It's going to be better to get it out of her hair with magic.
Absolutely.
I'm saying nothing to that.
Probably for the best.
I'm just
And
giving
for you lot at home, sit down and think about what you've done.
I'm just trying to move on swiftly and forget that you did anything that could remotely constitute anything sort of out of the ordinary at all.
Yeah.
So you're going to ignore my every contribution.
Mosrel's just going to stand on the bank and laugh at what's going on because,
I'm just kind of like, in a kind of, I don't know if you can do it, but kind of friendly way, but kind of giving you dirties. And Mosman's like, I've gone all the way to the water, got my sword out, was going to look heroic, and he just kind of ran past me and did it. It's like,
let's face it, at the end of the day, order the now. We're all about getting rid of the threats to civilization. This is what we train for, in theory.
Okay, so just to
Rigger trained.
just to
Oh, I
remind you
do
guys,
anyway.
just to remind you guys of the area that you're in, just so you're aware, and all the rest of it. So there are tangles of reeds that grow in thick clusters around the edge of this muddy pond. The water appears murky with algae, and the half-decayed body of a 3-foot-tall, scaly humanoid lies on the pool's northern bank, half buried in mud and leaves. So if you recall last time, Mozra and I mentioned that there appeared to be something that looked a lot like a kobold
Yes.
corpse sort of lying against the wall on this northern. I also mentioned that this area here that you're in, you can see that there's the drawbridge on the to the west of you, and I said that was quite high. You couldn't quite lift yourself up onto it because as I said, the water's about 4 foot deep, but there's also like a bank anyway, so the drawbridge is quite high up, and very similar to this eastern side, where you can see that there is a walkway that's built sort of over on a proper bridge, proper stone bridge sort of thing, but it's a good sort of 9-10 foot to get up to it because from the 4 foot deep water. So if you were on a bank and able to lift yourself up onto it, it would be easier, but you can also see that the walls of that bridge kind of block you off from being able to do that from the bank. There's only a gap in the center area where the water is, so it's really awkwardly constructed to sort of sneak onto there. Maybe with a bit of work and a bit of help you could do it, but at the moment you've got one entrance in through over that drawbridge, which you can easily manage, and the other options, other than potentially walking around the whole building, you can't see any clear.
Can we see these holes?
So yes, those holes are proper archers' slots. Okay, so you can see that they're there, and you could probably maybe get up close to them and have a look in, but it's still quite high walls, and they're where you'd expect archer slots to be, so they're quite high up as well. You're aware of the sort of design of these things, where it's very narrow on this side and probably expands out on the inside to give an archer a proper line of sight if they were ever dealing with an invading army.
So the way as I see it is we got 2 ways in, and he'll point up towards the drawbridge. That thing looks a bit rickety, but it's going to be a lot easier than trying to climb up there. We're not going to be entirely subtle, or at least I'm not. He's going to tap his breastplate, unless anyone's got grapnels or anything like that to try and get us up there.
Up where, sorry?
You've got this bit of a bridge piece over here near the side of the water.
I can try and give you a leg up if you want.
Might be quite a way in, or a less expected way in. I don't know.
I don't know how.
We've not exactly been quiet out here.
Exactly.
They know, and young bugger who shinned across that rope will have warned his mates.
Might as well go for the easy route then.
Or do we want to try and take both sides?
There's a healthy amount of building between. We could try it.
I'm sure if one of us got in trouble, we could shout loud enough. But take them by surprise.
What surprise?
Well, if there's only 2 people walking in one direction, they might think, there's only 2 people, let's get them. And then, the other 2 come round the back.
Did the other one get away? Proper get
Yes.
away? Then they know there's more than 2.
They might think they're trying to find another way around.
At least I think it got away. Did it get away?
DM?
No, I thought you shot with a crossbow.
I
don't
got
know
the one that was
The one that
climbing
was
across.
climbing across got shot by a crossbow bolt and fell into the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder whose bolt that was.
I don't think that they do know we're here right now.
Okay.
So
apart from the noise you made there.
As you're wandering around over on that side of the island, sort of the lake area. Mosran. Two things that you notice. The first thing is that the body on that shore is most definitely a kobold. It has markings of the local kobold tribe that you had problems with quite a few years ago when you were first sort of around in Atari. In addition to that, though, it has a backpack and a couple of things sort of catch your eye inside. Firstly, it's carrying 4 gold. So there are 4 gold pieces in the various things. The other thing is something that appears to be a snare, but it's not been fully set up yet. So it's actually got a snare kit, not snare kit, a spike snare. But it's bundled up securely in a little backpack, so you'd have to sort of unpack it and set it. But effectively, there is a trap that could be set up should you ever need it in there. The second thing that you notice as you're sort of wandering around over there is that there is there's 2 doors up on that raised area. Okay, so you've been wandering across. There's a door that goes further into the main building. There's a door that appears to go into this large structure on the eastern island. And stood next to the door on the sort of outbuilding, as it were, you can see what appears to be a heavily armoured figure, just sort of propped up against the door. It's got a mace in one hand. It is armoured head to toe, but it doesn't seem to be moving, and it doesn't seem to have seen you.
When you say armoured figure, do I have any inkling if this is a statue or a genuine, as in person in a suit or a something in a suit? This being a dubious location.
It looks like it's a something in a suit.
Okay, then I'm gonna.
In
Because
fact,
he'll been standing on it, like leaning on his halberd a little bit. He's just going to very gently lower it to like halfway, just so it's flat, and just push away, push away motions.
Yeah, this is what you can see, leant up against the door.
Yeah, he's basically going to use push away motions and move towards Anchor and indicate moving back, and he's going to move back himself.
Okay. So you are more than welcome, guys, to move yourself on the map while you're
Set
moving
to
around.
combat.
Is it set to combat still? It shouldn't be.
Or I am.
That's annoying. There you go. You've got free movement back again now. that's the joy of deleting a combat before ending it. Apparently, it sometimes will do that.
So to be clear, have we spent enough time that I'm no longer clumsy?
You will have spent enough time that you are no longer clumsy. Yes, you can certainly have spent the 3 actions to have got rid of the stuff that's on you. So, yeah, that's no problem. I will remove that condition from you. There you are.
Oh, that's better. Better AC again.
Yeah, I'll basically just move us away. When we've got a bit of space and a bit of a gap, I'll just say that I don't know what it is, but I don't think we want to be climbing up onto that ledge just yet because there's something up
I can
there.
shoot it if you want.
Sure, but it looked like it should be dead already, but isn't.
Oh?
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a little bit rotting around the mandibles.
That's ideal.
Maybe that's the look he's just going for. Like,
Yeah, well, that and the dentistry, the exposed dentistry going on. For sure, yeah.
Exposed dentistry.
I mean, it could just be lacking sleep. That's why his eye sockets look sunken in. It could just be
so
entirely
he's a new
reasonable.
parent. I mean, I can't believe you're being so rude.
That's the one. Yeah, totally. You go and shoot that new parent right in the head. Go for it.
Hey.
That's exactly what they want anyway. I don't mean this. I don't mean this. This is Mosran.
What
But
have I
too late,
signed up
Neffy
for?
has already taken aim.
All right.
Come on, hidden
leader of a
first,
little
though.
band.
I'm
Okay.
gonna do a stealth first.
Yeah, you can sneak yourself around. That's no problems at all. I will roll that. And can you just tell me your stealth bonus, please?
+6.
Okay, you feel that you are being as stealthy as you can be. I shall bear in mind the number I have just rolled.
I think if Neffy is going to be firing at this thing and they haven't seen us yet, we might want to use it as a kind of like a signal shot where we charge through the doors ourselves, because we're not going to be able to get this thing, are we?
So,
Well, if she
unless
shoots it in the
Neffy's
head, it's going to
shot
come down
hits
here
it.
probably.
Well,
what I will say is, at the moment, you've got no real way of climbing up there. It would be some serious effort for you guys to get up there. There is no other visible doors that you can reach
through
apart
here.
from the one on the
Yeah.
on the drawbridge. Yeah. So
then Neffy fires at the thing. If Neffy doesn't kill it or not kill it or whatever you do to something that's half rotten,
Destroy.
destroy in a single shot, then it might end up bringing lots of friends. So we possibly want to be breaking through at the same time to catch what's on the other side of the door.
okay.
So, a couple of us, are we going to try and catch you down here, or are we going to try and sneak through the building first?
I think probably try and sneak through the building.
Okay.
All right. So Neffy is asked to sort of hold on to this a little bit, by the sounds of things.
In fact, Neffy, if we just thinking tactically a bit, do you reckon you could get a shot from the bridge across to where it is?
That certainly seems like it probably is easier. Because all the angles and everything else would make it... Although, then you've got the problem of distance, of course. Which would make it slightly harder. But, in fact, what I would like
Just thinking to be not so far away.
What I'd like Neffy to do, actually, is roll an intelligence check.
Okay.
So
How
just
smart are you feeling?
simply roll a d20 and add your intelligence modifier.
16?
So a couple of things cross your mind. Firstly, if it's undead, there are quite a lot of undead that are more or less immune to crossbow bolt, piercing attacks, because there's not enough substance to them that it would actually hurt them.
That's all I hit for is piercing.
But, yeah. But the other thing that crosses your mind is because of the situation where the walls come across where that skeleton is, and the extra height and elevation, or potentially distance, it's a next to impossible shot. Even for somebody like you, it would be far too difficult to do from where you are. You need to work out another route to that bridge in order to be able to make that sort of attack.
So we just try and go in through the doors?
I say, I'm not stopping you doing it, I'm just saying it would be a really difficult shot.
So what's your feelings on it, Neffy? From the bridge, or are we going to try something else?
Well, it ain't going to be easy to hit, and if it is undead, then I don't know how much damage it's going to do, other than alert.
Okay. In that case, then we'll go in through the building and have a rummage.
And then we'll sort away.
Yeah. Try a slightly more subtle way, maybe get you a better angle when we're closer up.
Another possible thing then, if we do walk across that bridge, it's got a pretty good line of sight of that bridge, right? It's going to be pretty clear that we're crossing it. Could we try and go through the water and then throw a rope over the drawbridge and kind of climb up close to the wall? Might not be able to see us there, and then just kind of sneak in.
You got a rope with you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Get
Sounds
the
like a
rope
plan.
out of my back.
Okay.
I do.
I'm more than willing to allow people to come up with this as an idea. So if you move your token sort of, I would suggest around the building and get yourself sort of in
Back.
the water or.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. We'll go around the other side. We'll give it a little bit more gap and a little bit more distance.
Yeah,
Let's
you
not do it in
kind of
front
use
of
the
it.
bridge as cover to an
Yeah.
extent. So as you're getting around to this, I will do the description, and people can merrily watch you guys move all your tokens around the map. A wooden drawbridge. Its timbers grey with age and decay spans the 20-foot gap between the outbuilding and the sprawling ruin on the island. Rusty iron chains hang from the ruin's northern wall to the drawbridge's southern side. The chains look ready to fall apart, giving the drawbridge's structural integrity an extra layer of dubiousness. And what I would say is there's a perception check to see what you can see about this bridge. The perception check is a DC 5 perception check, which means that everybody apart from Anya automatically passes. And the only thing I can the only thing I can do with this dice roll is functionally roll ones to make all of you fail. I'm not sure that's going to happen. So let's have a nice quick roll. I did roll 1-1, which meant that Neffy didn't work out what was going on, but everybody else, including Anya, is capable of spotting that the bridge has actually been, not only is it old, but it's also been sabotaged. Somebody has actually undercut the supports to sort of really weaken them. You probably could have walked across it. Small creatures could have just walked across with no problems whatsoever. Smaller, medium-sized creatures, one at a time, it would have been fine. Now, whether
there's one small creature that's going to have to.
Yeah. Yeah,
because while he can
I look
climb,
up
he
at it and
can't
go,
climb ropes.
Hey, that bridge
And we are
looks
not playing
absolutely
Tajay.
All
rather-
4 of us could walk on that with no problems. What are you on about?
So what I will say is, I would quite like a roll from Anchor, and I'm going to suggest that, considering what you're trying to do is tie rope up in a particular way, you can do one of two things. You could do an athletics check for just the general sort of physical strength, tying ropes, that sort of way, or a thievery check for a more sort of skilled approach at tying up the ropes.
I was thinking much more athletics.
That's fair. That's fair.
Before that.
Yep. So sorry, go on.
Kind of trying to throw it as hard as I can so it goes over.
Yeah.
And then kind of having both ends kind of either side of the bridge, I could kind of get a knot system.
Yep.
Lever the knot up so it kind of then claps around the top of the drawbridge, and then we've got a single rope that we can climb up.
Yep. Now, I will say that the bridge is structurally weak, so I will still have the same sort of limitation. It will probably only be one person at a time that can climb up onto this bridge.
How is the internal door in the gatehouse barred?
It is
Or can I
not,
just open
actually. You
it?
can just open it.
Okay.
16. Luckily, I've got a +7 for athletics.
Yeah, I will more than happily say that for the purpose of what you're doing, you're not trying to do anything overly complicated with the rope. So I'm more than happy to say that you can do that. That simple tie. That's not a problem whatsoever. However, it will now be dependent on who's going first and whether or not you're sending the badger over first, or one of you to get up there and open the door before the badger goes running over. One of you will need to make an athletics check now to actually get up out of the water and onto the bridge.
I'll totally go first, seeing as the rope's probably in my hand at this point.
Yeah.
So
I'll provide a boost if appropriate or will be assistive.
I mean, the aid rule at your level is horrendous. It's very difficult to do it. So let's.
Hands off.
I rolled a 26, so even without aid, I don't know. If
I'm more than
it's gonna-
happy for you to say that you
Nice.
get yourself up to the door. I'm certainly going to go with that. You can do that with the rope. So yeah, by all means, move yourself up onto there. You are pretty much the only person that's going to be able to manage it at this point in time. But the door appears to be unbarred and available for you to open up.
I guess I guess if I'm still on the bridge, no one else can really come up at the moment, or we risk breaking it.
Correct,
So I need
yeah.
to at least open the door
Although-
and see what's in the other side.
I would say actually where you are, there's probably hard earth underneath you. So I would say that you're okay where you are to add another person stood next to you, but then adding anybody else behind you would be a real problem.
Well, I'll open the door just a little bit to see if there's anything obvious behind it, and then if there's nothing that I can see, I'll beckon everyone else.
By
across.
all means, click on that door and open it up.
Do I want to?
Well, that's entirely up to you.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I can't see anything.
Are you sure? Scroll yourself up.
I can see things. Okay. Oh,
Piles of rotting timbers and loose stones lie in heaps throughout this large L-shaped hall, and you can see that it spans off to one side. Clumps of moss and tangled vines slip down from gaps in the wooden ceilings above each pile of rubble. Several doors lead out to all sides, most barely clinging to their hinges and frames. Debris completely blocks a wooden stairwell that leads up to a large hole in the ceiling. Here and there, the stone walls bear the scars of fire or damage from an ancient battle. But it's not just that catches your eye, and I'm sure you can see that there's something ahead of you here, and there are two creatures that you can see
okay.
at the moment, just the two. The two creatures that you can see, one of them is very, very familiar. You've seen one of these things. It's diminutive and small and sort of trying to clamber all over this various sorts of bits of rubble and things that are all over the place. It's another one of those blue gremlin-y type creatures, goblin-y type creatures that you've seen before. But it's wandering around with, well, something vile and horrible. Large, bloated, segmented white body writhes and twists as this creature is led around by the original blue one on what can only be best described as a rudimentary leash, made of sort of rope and the like wrapped around its body. It has small, unpleasant little legs that seem to be shifting, moving around at the front, but actually, for the most part, it's moving by the undulation of its body. Your immediate thoughts on this creature are that it kind of looks a little bit like a maggot, but maybe 300-400 times bigger than it should be. There it is.
That is
Ew.
grim as
Lovely.
hell.
Lovely creature.
Ew.
And as you open the door, because you weren't trying to be sneaky about it, and you weren't trying to be stealthy about it,
I was.
We were, who weren't doing it.
you're further back. But as you open up the door and you try and sneak your way in without really sort of doing the stuff to do it, thankfully the maggot does not look your way, but the the blue creature does. It turns and it looks at you, and in its shrill, slightly horrible voice, it shouts, "Oh no, get him!" And that's
Oh,
where
what a
we'll
surprise.
end this episode, and we're going to go and get some drinks, and we'll start next week, I think, next time on this little fight. So, yeah.
So I'll start generating a character now then, shall we?
All you need to do is just close the door again.
We have established this in other games, haven't we? You know, you open the door, you throw in the
Yeah.
fire bombs, and you close the door, and nothing
And then
happens.
you close the door again, and it's fine.
Your downside is you've got no firebombs this time.
Ah,
In either
crap.
case,
Yeah,
we'll
damn it.
we'll go and have our break. We're going to have a drink, and we will come back in a little bit to do the next part. The next episode for everybody. So those people watching and listening, goodbye for now, and yeah, we'll catch you for the second part of this.
TTFA.